everyone, it's Mari here for Studio Light. I'm going to be using this gorgeous Slimline Ornament Frames die JMA IPCD409 from Studio Light, as well as this beautiful stamp set Lantern SLGR 314. And I'm going to use those two items to create my project today. Now, what I've done so far is I die cut out my mixed media paper, my heavy cardstock, with that slimline die, and I stamped out that lantern image with some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. And now I'm just putting some clear embossing powder over top of the image, and that's just going to allow me to melt that embossing powder and just to create a really nice shiny image to work with when I'm doing the coloring process. So once I have that inked up image covered with my clear embossing powder, I'm just going to take my heat tool and melt the embossing powder. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera. I know I do attempt to show you here, but the lines of the stamped image become really nice and raised and shiny and really nice and clear, so that the image is really fun for and ready for some coloring. And the coloring technique that I'm going to be using today will include the Distress watercolor pencils and some Distress inks. And I'm going to start off here just by coloring the paper with the pencil, and then going in with my water brush and just going to activate that color just to get that going and moving around on my paper. And the really great thing about these watercolor pencils from Ranger is you can layer the colors. So once the color dries, you can go in with another color. You can even do a wet on wet technique if you would like. So there's lots of different ways to use these pencils, and they are really super easy and fun to use, that's for sure. So you can just see here, I'm just going to continue this coloring process. And I just love that those embossed lines are going to contain the medium in the little area. They just kind of create, the embossed lines kind of create a little well, so that it's a little bit easier to contain the water when you put it down onto the paper. And then of course you also still have that really nice those shiny black lines for your image. I'm going to put a little bit of music on, and you can watch the rest of the coloring process, and then I'll see you back when I'm all finished coloring. The combination of the distress inks and the watercolor pencils just creates this really nice blend of color. And I just really like working with those two different mediums together. It really makes coloring an image super, super easy. Now I'm going to use my Studio Light blending brush here to just add a little bit of extra color around the edge of the image. And this is just a little bit of green here. You could just see just wanting to deepen up the color on those edges a little bit. I'll use a little bit of green and a little bit of brown inks just to create that little bit of extra definition. And just really wanted this to look obviously distressed, a little bit grungy. And I love the grunge stamps from Studio Light. They just make creating a distressed and grungy sort of project really, really super easy. This lantern slimline stamp set is part of a new collection from Studio Light, and I have linked up to all of the different Studio Light products below in the description box, so you can check those items out, and those links are with Ecstasy Crafts, so you can check out all of these different products that I've used today over at Ecstasy Crafts. So there you can just see that the ink blending on the edges is all finished, and now I'm just going to take a little bit of Dina Wakley gloss spray in white and splatter with my splat box here and a little fine brush. Just a little bit of white splatter. I wanted this to look like a wintry scene as well, and for the holidays I wanted to give this a little bit of a wintry flair. And so I'm just doing that white splatter, and I love that that just really creates that look of snow on this project. You could even take some snow effect and add that here and there as well to the image to make it look really super wintry. And I love that that slimline die from Janine's Mindful Art Inner Peace collection. I love how it just sort of adds that decal edge to the edge of my slimline. And now what I'm going to do is add some foam adhesive on the back. I'm also going to be using my Studio Light all-purpose liquid adhesive on the foam, just to give it a little bit of an opportunity to wiggle around when I put it onto my slimline card base. So I'll just grab that liquid adhesive and just apply that fairly liberally onto my foam adhesive. And like I said, what that will do when I put this onto the card base is, instead of having that foam tape grab the paper right away, the liquid adhesive will just allow me a few seconds to just move this around and get it into place, so that I just have that really nice even white margin around the edge of this beautiful lantern piece. It is so gorgeous. I love this stamp set so much. It is just really, really pretty. And I definitely will link up to the other slimline stamps in this collection. There's some mini slimline stamps as well in this new grunge collection, as well as some full-size slimline stamps. Now I'm just taking a little bit of stickles in gold, and I'm going to add just a little bit of glitter here and there to my lantern. I also wanted to use this stamp set. This is SLGR stamp 318, and I'm going to be using this one for my sentiment. The sentiment is Let It Snow. I'm just using my stamp press from Studio Light to stamp out that sentiment onto some white cardstock here. And now I'm just taking a really fine black pen and just making a really messy squiggly line to outline the sentiment as well. I'll trim that off a little bit, and that sentiment's going to be ready for my project. And I'm going to just put a little bit of foam adhesive on the back of it. I'm just going to distress the edges a little bit too. And once I have the foam adhesive onto that back of that sentiment, I'll just use my tweezers to help me put that into place down in the lower portion of the project. That finishes off my card today, friends. Make sure you check out the links in the description box below to all of the different products that I've used today from Studio Light and Ecstasy Crafts. Absolutely love how this turned out, and I love the grunge collections. They're always some of my favorite. Take care, friends, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.